Police are also searching for 4 men who robbed a smoke shop in East New York, Brooklyn. This happened on November 7th. Police say a 49-year-old worker was closing the store when the suspects pushed him to the ground and forced their way inside. They stole about $500 worth of electronic cigarettes along with the keys to the store. The worker refused medical attention at the scene.
Releasing video of a brutal attack and robbery in the Bronx. Take a closer look. Around 8:30 yesterday morning, a 77-year-old woman was in the lobby of her apartment building in the Norwood section when somebody grabbed her from behind. The suspect yanked her purse so violently that the woman went flying to the ground. When she fell, she hit her head, but she is expected to physically recover. All of that for $125. Police are still looking for the attacker.
Queens District Attorney and NYPD have teamed up.
PD officers involved in a deadly shooting during a drug bust in northern Manhattan. CBS 2's Christy Kalishian reports from the scene in Inwood.
That's right. Still a lot of unanswered questions this morning. The first floor of this Vermelia Avenue building is where police are still investigating. This is where they found one man dead and they arrested another after they barricaded this building this morning. It was the NYPD along with state police and federal narcotics officials who call this a significant narcotics operation.
As the members of the task force try to make the apprehension, at least one of the males pulled the gun on them and fired at them. Members of the task force were able to apprehend one male right away.
And they returned fire at the other. This all took place at around 8:45 Friday night in the Vermelia Avenue neighborhood. Police moved outside and barricaded the man in the building, and a hostage negotiation team came to help.
Our units tried to make contact, and after some time when they were unable to make contact, they were able to get a look inside and they saw the male lying down on the floor.
And cops have put out the pictures of those 2 guns recovered from the scene. One of those was actually found on the man that they found dead. At this time, they're not sure if he was actually shot dead by the officers themselves or if he shot himself. More information is going to be released possibly by the end of today in terms of what charges are presented against this man. Again, very active ongoing investigation.
Between food vendors from San Diego and LA turned into a brawl last night outside Petco Park.
The melee broke out around 10:30 while DJ Duke Dumont was performing on the Gallagher Square stage. Now, San Diego police officers who were working the event jumped in. They used pepper spray to try to break up the fight. They discovered that a 31-year-old man had been stabbed in the back. He is expected to be okay. A 21-year-old man was then arrested in connection with that stabbing. Meantime, many of those who had been pepper sprayed, they were treated by first responders.
A gay bar in Hell's Kitchen was the target of several brick-throwing incidents recently. Now, video here from City Council member Eric Botcher shows a man throwing a brick at Vers. That's on 9th Avenue near 49th Street. Police say there were at least 2 other incidents, both in the last week. They do not know if it's the same person involved in each one of those cases. Important to note here, no one was hurt by that brick throwing, and the motive is under investigation.
Tonight, video of the suspects accused of shooting at people inside a playground in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. NYPD says 3 people caught on camera showed guns and started firing them multiple times in the direction of a group inside the Kennedy King playground. It happened last Monday, November 7th is when it happened. No one was hit by the gunfire.
Breaking news now in the Bronx, where a man was found shot inside an overturned car. It happened just before 5 today in the Marble Hill section. Chopper 2 was over the scene. This is at Sedgwick and Reservoir Avenues. Police say the victim is not expected to survive, and police are now investigating what led up to the shooting and the crash.
Out as a woman is now under arrest, charged with homicide following the death of one of her 8-month-old twins. 29-year-old Selena Juarez was taken into custody Wednesday. Investigators say she'd suffocated the baby girl. Police responded to her home on November 4th for a call of an unconscious infant. One had stopped breathing. When officers arrived, they immediately began CPR. She died the next day at the hospital.
Because she was the only person in the room at the time of this incident and was in charge of the care of the children, And based on the preliminary facts and circumstances that we collected at the scene in conjunction with witness statements and preliminary information from the coroner's office, we feel that she is the primary person responsible.
News in the Bronx, gunshot to the gas station, leaving an employee fighting for his life. Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. Police say that worker was shot in the head while on duty and then rushed to the hospital.
CBS 2's Tim McNicholas live in Allerton tonight with the breaking details. Tim.
Maurice and Christine, police have taped off this gas station. Detectives have been shuffling in and out. We've now learned that 49-year-old victim is an employee here. He was shot in the head just after 7 p.m. and rushed to Jacoby Hospital in critical condition. NYPD sources tell us a man walked in, said nothing, fired, and took off. He took off, just ran away. Shootings in this area are up. This is the 25th shooting in the 49th Police Precinct this year compared to 15 this time last year. I just talked to a few people who regularly shop at the gas station. They tell me they are devastated to hear about the shooting.
He was very friendly. Of course, he was very friendly. I mean, at the gas station, as an attendant, he was, I never see the guy like him. It's heartbreaking.
And no word yet on a motive, but NYPD sources say this does not appear to be a robbery. As for the investigation, take a look at this. I've counted at least 5 security cameras at this gas station. Investigators are no doubt looking into whether any of those captured anything pertinent to their investigation. Live in the Allerton section of the Bronx, Tim McNicholas.
An attack on 2 people on a train near Union Square overnight as a possible hate crime. Investigators say a man hit a woman on a southbound L train after an argument and cut her face with a sharp object. It happened last night at about 10:30. Sources tell CBS 2 the suspect made an anti-Muslim statement before striking the woman. Police say a fellow subway rider who tried to intervene was cut too. Both victims were taken to Bellevue Hospital in stable condition. PD is now searching for a man they say attacked a 12-year-old boy in Brooklyn. They're looking for the man seen in this disturbing video. The boy is off camera, but police say he was walking along St. Paul's Place last Thursday morning when the suspect allegedly approached him from behind and began hitting him with a crutch. The boy suffered minor injuries and was taken to a local urgent care in stable condition. Police described the incident as an unprovoked attack.
This is just a frightening situation that played out this morning. Police are looking for this man who they say tried to kidnap a 10-year-old boy as he was riding the subway to school with his 2 siblings this morning. This happened as they were going to get off at the West 34th Street station. This happened around 8:10 this morning, and police have clear surveillance video of the suspect that they want you to see. They say that the man followed the siblings at the 149th Street subway station. The 10-year-old was with his 15-year-old brother and his 16-year-old sister taking a southbound 2 train. The suspect then allegedly sat next to the children, and as the train was pulling into 34th Street, grabbed the 10-year-old's legs and tried to take him off the train, saying, "Get off, this is our stop." The boy's older brother and sister managed to intervene, and after a struggle, the suspect ran out of the subway. He was last seen going into Penn Station. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the situation has left some riders pretty uneasy.
It's not the safest city in the world like it used to be. So, I'm sorry that happened. No one wants their child killed, and no one wants to get hurt. But look at the shootings around all the states and the craziness that's going on, and it's the holiday season, and it's just horrible.
Two children stabbed to death in the Bronx, and police say they think they know who killed them. Good evening. I'm Natalie Duddridge. Jessica Moore is off tonight. A horrific scene in the Mount Hope section of the Bronx this evening. 2 children are dead, and police believe their mother is responsible. CBS 2's Jennifer Bisram is there. And Jennifer, what are you learning?
Natalie, this is just one of those stories that really tug at your heartstrings. Police say 2 kids, one as young as a year old, the other 3 years old, were both found dead inside of their Bronx apartment. I'll get out of the way so you can take a look at the scene at this hour. This investigation far from over. Police have been here for hours. We are expected to hear more from police from a press conference in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, police sources telling us the young children were stabbed to death by their own mother. It happened just before 8 this evening here in the Mount Hope section of the Bronx. We've learned the building the family lives in on Echo Place is also used as a family shelter. Detectives close to the investigation say after the mother stabbed her kids, she tried to burn the building down. We talked with the neighbors shortly after the kids were brought out naked on a stretcher. Take a listen.
We don't know what's going on with it. I just heard them yelling and screaming. He kept saying, screaming, help me, help me, help me. That's when he brought the boys out. They were naked and blood all over them.
And the father told you that the mom did that to the babies? Or?
Yeah, he said she killed them. She killed them.
Again, just a horrific story out here in the Bronx tonight. We're told that mother is now in police custody. The father is being questioned at this hour. We are expected to learn more from police in just a few minutes. Of course, we will bring that information to you as soon as we get it. But for now, we are live in the Bronx tonight. Jennifer Bisram.
Police have officially charged a mother for the murder of her 2 young children.
The boys are found Saturday night with multiple stab wounds inside their apartment at a family shelter in the Bronx. CBS News' Ania Maldonado has the very latest on the investigation.
22-year-old Damone Fleming of the Bronx has now been charged with the murder of her children, identified overnight as 3-year-old Deshaun Fleming and 11-month-old Octavius Fleming, Canada. Monday morning, residents in the Bronx neighborhood stopping by this growing memorial sitting outside the Echo Place family shelter, leaving messages behind for the 2 boys.
Yeah, I know the family. All our kids used to play outside. The father's a great dad. The kids were always playing.
A family friend holding back tears tells us the mother needed help.
I'm quite sure of some things that I'm not going to disclose, but she just needed help. She didn't know how to handle it.
Just after 7 Saturday night, police say they got a call about an emotionally disturbed woman acting erratically but non-violent. Fleming was then taken by EMS to St. Barnabas for a psychiatric evaluation.
I see a lady that she was acting crazy, saying, oh my God, what I did. So I asked her, yo, miss, what happened? You okay? And she looking at me, but she don't say nothing to me.
Shortly after, another 911 call came in about an assault inside the same 3rd-floor apartment. When police arrived, they found the 2 young boys unresponsive with multiple stab wounds. Both were taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. Police sources say the children's father, Columbus, Canada, had returned to the apartment shortly after the mother's arrest to find his sons with stab wounds in the bathtub. The medical examiner's office has yet to announce the children's exact cause of death. As you can see, a memorial remains here outside the shelter, candles still burning, 2 teddy bears and balloons, all in memory of those 2 little boys. Now, no update on that psychiatric evaluation the mother was said to undergo. For now, she remains in police custody.
Raping 2 women in the Bronx, investigators charged 28-year-old Deshaun Williams with a rape that happened in mid-September and a second rape from earlier this month. Police say in both crimes, Williams responded to an online post, then went to a hotel on Bruckner Boulevard. Prosecutors accuse him of taking out a weapon, removing cash, then raping the victim.